Welcome along, ladies and gents, to a brand new venue for the Invictus Racing League. We're here in the Algarve for round 12 of the Championship, where the battle for Constructors' title rages on, and the Drivers' Championship as well. Here in Portimao, the sun is beaming down. It's the second new track of the season after Zandvoort. We do love exploration when it comes to a Formula 1 calendar, as we travel the continent to bring you a championship battle down to the wire that's full of energy. This part of the world is famous for its use of renewable energy, Portugal being one of the only countries to run a full month on either hydro, wind or solar power. But it's a different kind of power we'll be racing today. Thousands of horsepower around, up and down the track. One of the most undulating tracks on the calendar is the circuit of the Algarve. 2.8 miles long is the track with 15 corners, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and 2 DRS zones with a lap distance at full throttle being 77%. It's fast, it's elevating, and it's set to be another tight battle on the coastline of Portugal. Cameron.
Yeah, good evening everyone. Welcome to another round. Another week has come, and we are in, as you said, Portugal for round 12 of Invictus Racing League. We were in Italy last time, and we moved to the Algarve this week. Only a couple more rounds to go, 3 rounds indeed. We've got Spain, Singapore and Mexico, but with 3 rounds left, the championship fight is still on. In fact, the championship standings, as displayed on screen there, have come down quite somewhat. Cancon still leads, but only 29 points in it from Jasper, who won last time out. In fact, both drivers have the same amount of wins, with Jasper winning 2 of the last 4 races. So Cancon hasn't got it easy into the final stage of this championship, but he does have the points advantage as of now. But who will know come the end of this race? And as you wait to drivers in order to get ready for qualifying, and we'll just show you the calendar again. Let's have a look at the team standings. So we've got McLaren in front of Williams here, and a bit of a change in the lead. Jasper and RSD leading the way with 121 points, with Williams second at 116 and Mercedes on 106 points. So it is getting pretty nip and tuck in the Constructors, as well as potentially the Drivers' Championships. So this round in Portugal, Fozzy, is a new round on the calendar. It was obviously, we've been here twice in real life, but it's now in the F1 game. So do you reckon it'll face a different kind of challenge for the drivers this evening?
Yeah, it's one of those tracks where drivers haven't got the experience of driving over previous games and previous years, so it is as new to everybody as it is to us. It's not an easy track as well. The likes of Turn 8 stand out to me, with the camber there and the curves being quite a dangerous one. I suspect we might see a few spins there, especially during qualifying, as people are really pushing to get those flying laps on the board. Like I said at the start, 15 corners, and not many of them are level or easy. It's either you're either going up, you're either going down, or you're either going sideways with a little bit of camber as well. It's a undulating track, and I'm sure we'll mention that quite a few times throughout the stream as well. Up and down, and in the words of Lando Norris, it is just like a roller coaster. But with 2 DRS zones, there's plenty of opportunities for overtaking. DRS out of turn 4, and of course down the main pit straight into turn 1 as well. We might see overtakes there, it's likely, but we also might see some throughout sector 2 and the start of sector 3 as well. So it should be, as I said, an interesting race, a challenging race for some as well, but one that should give us a few surprises, as we always do here, Cameron, at PC F1.
Yep, PC F1 is the place to be. We've got a couple of drivers that aren't attending this evening. Emir Kakurlin, Delange 93, Undertaker Daigoro, Mystarius, as well as Owen. And we have to recognise the fact that we lost a legend of the motorsport world in the last couple days. Sir Frank Williams, an iconic team principal, an iconic character throughout the paddock. So here at Invictus Racing League, we will be remembering him and his legacy that is left behind in the hands of Williams Racing, and all of those years of title battles up and down throughout the grid. And come the start of qualifying, all drivers will remain in their garage, in their pit box area, until the timer says 17 minutes. So it will be a minute's silence, and we will also go silent in the commentary box, and we'll be left with the sounds of the paddock, who has definitely lost an icon in the last week. And our condolences and respects go to the Williams family and all throughout the motorsport industry. And talking about that now, we we will get into the qualifying session shortly. So yeah, all the drivers will stay in their garages until that time, and that time is now upon us. So join us in remembering the legacy of Sir Frank Williams from Williams, and obviously the family legacy of his daughter taking control. And now, as the team moves into its new era under Dalton, we pay respects to Sir Frank Williams. And a big thank you to all of you watching, as well as the drivers, for remembering Frank Williams, Sir Frank Williams. And now we get back to what he loved, albeit in a virtual sense. We get on to some on-track action here in qualifying in the Algarve, a new track for the drivers to take on in a very recognisable and familiar championship battle. Who have we got so far? We have Bashi is out in the AlphaTauri. Fozzy, it looks like they are trying the medium tyres again. Is it a similar strategy to what we've all seen throughout the season, or do you reckon maybe with the tyre wear they're trying something a bit different this week in?
Well, in the game, I think a lot of them might not know what the tyre wear is going to be like. We see 5 drivers out on the medium tyres at the moment. It's similar to what you say, like what we've seen in previous rounds as well. A lot of people might be going out for a reconnaissance lap just to sort of get into the flow of the track. But I imagine we will see the vast majority of these people at least all coming out onto the softs to try and set at least a good qualifying time and take that forward into the race strategy as well. But yeah, like you say, a few drivers out already, about half the grid on an out lap at the moment, the other half still back in the garage, just finalising a few bits here and there. Cameron?
We are joined this evening by Adam, who moves into PCF1. He was the PC F2 Championship last season. He won Championship as the first season that Fozzy and I commentated over, albeit the second half, where we saw a thrilling Titanic battle between about 3 drivers in the end. But he joins us in PCF1 and joins the Mercedes Brackley outfit. With Mercedes AMG Petronas, joining alongside Jeremy Clarkson, who himself joined the league a few races in this season, and he currently sits 6th in the standings. And so we have 2 Mercedes cars on track this evening, and there is a yellow flag, Sector 3. Talking of Mercedes, that's the other one going slowly. Dirty air is, as ever, a cause of concern, and especially around Sector 2. It's the Portimao. It's going to become a bit of a difficulty, especially in the race. But Adam does set a purple Sector 1 on these soft tyres as he heads up the hill now. It's all about undulation. We talk about it all the time, as mentioned in commentary during the actual race. And it will be the main topic for these drivers to handle. This is a difficult corner, turn 8 there, in order to get the camber correct as we head through turn 9. Into turn 10 is an extended braking zone here. You can brake slightly wider, then cut in on that yellow and white curb. Use the curb on the left to get your run in, and then this lovely corner of turn 13. It's quite a wide corner. I reckon you can see some overtaking opportunities there, but we now move on to the main overtaking opportunity, which is via gaining DRS as exits turns 14 into 15. DRS section zone here. and then it's a long run all the way to the finish line and turn 1, uphill again. It is a roller coaster, and then it's slipstream all the way, and Adam, on his debut at PC F1 this season, currently has the fast time of them all with a 1:17.025. That's 500ths quicker than Cass, the Alpine. The Alpines have been pretty quick in qualifying this season. Fozzy, you've had multiple, if not front row starts, and second and third rows. Do you reckon we can see something similar this evening from the Alpines?
Yeah, entirely plausible. They've had 2 races in a row where they've scored 17 points, so they'll be hoping to try and score just a little bit more as well there to help them in the Constructors' Championship. They are 4th at the moment behind Mercedes by about 11 points, so it's all quite close at the moment. I imagine that lap time of Bashi there was not a full representative lap of 1:23. I wouldn't expect the medium size to be that far behind, and you can see Mert Kanken and Nicholas Swain as well, who hasn't had the best start of the season since joining us, Cameron. He's had a DNF and he has scored no points as well in some of the other races he's joined us in, so he'll be looking to score some points, will the Ferrari driver. The number 37 car, that is, of Nicholas Swain. He's not joined by his teammate today, so he is the only one out in the Scarlet Red Ferrari at the moment. But yeah, it's good from Adam, isn't it? He's not a champion for no reason. He's out there with a provisional pole time of less than a 10th ahead of Cass. So it's all still to play for between those 2 drivers.
We're also joined by Exal Mert. He was in a Mercedes a few races ago. However, unfortunately had to leave the league, but is back for tonight, and he takes place of the Williams, taking over Delange's seat, and he's joined alongside champion-elect Excel Kangakon, and so they were battling for a championship earlier in the season, and now they are teammates for this evening, so we'll see what Mert can do. Can Mert finally rival Kangakon on track, or will it be a bit of a flashback to races past, as the AlphaTauris are just sorting themselves out towards the latter, or the start of Sector 2, should I say. And we've got Markham currently 4th on the soft compound of tyres. They're about 2 tenths behind Adam, who is, as we said earlier, provisional pole and has invalidated that lap. And so he's going slowly and has now caught his fellow teammate, Bashi, who has put in a more representative lap time by 1:17.7. So in the mix there. But as you can see, we've only got 13 runners here, which, should, if you're driving tonight, be a bit of a thankful little gift. It means that you should be able to a high chance of getting points. Let's put it that way. Especially if you get a couple of DNFs, as the AlphaTauri darts in quite aggressively into the pit lane. Pit lane entry was a cause of concern during the actual race, especially last year, about where it was, as well as pit exit. And we wonder if we'll see anyone tripping up today, as there goes Liam Markham around turn 1. Talk about tripping up, tripping over the curbs. Goes Liam Markham, spins it, bit of wing damage. We'll have to, go for a box, if not a new set of tyres. And that was caught perfectly on camera for Liam Markham there. And his struggles continue this season, as I'm sure he'll head back to the pits there. And who else is going? Adam is on an outlap, and Jasper is heading to potentially start another lap. He's currently on a flying lap, we believe. And the McLaren duo this season has been very potent. And he ends up in the pit lane. RST still yet to set a lap time. And that will start to worry the McLaren driver, considering there are 10 minutes left of the session and 10 minutes left of learning a new track here in Portimao. As we are now rejoined by Fozzy. We lost him in the commentary box. Seems to be a running thing this time. But
it does, doesn't it?
We are back. So Jasper currently 5th. Liam Markham still 4th, obviously. And Nicholas Swain on his outlap.
Edu on a medium tyre set a purple Sector 1 and has just gone and set a purple Sector 2 as well. So this has turned out to be a very nice lap for the Haas driver. He's got an AlphaTauri quite significantly ahead of him, so it's unlikely to be giving him any dirty air through Sector 3. Let's see what Edu can do though as he heads around the final corner, up with the DRS and across the line. What's it going to be? Only P5, so not the best Sector 3 there. It was looking quite strong through Sector 1 and 2 with Purple's Sector 1 and 2 on the medium tyre. It just didn't hook up through that final sector. He goes up to P5. He'll be looking to improve on that should he go for another run on the soft tyre. Still the top 4 are Adam, Cass, Marcus and Liam. Bashu might be wanting to try and improve on his position as well to get a little bit closer to his teammate. One of only a few teams that have got both team drivers in today. Bashu and Liam marking for AlphaTauri. Like we said, Nicholas Swain, Edu and a few other drivers haven't got everybody with them, so a little bit thin on the grid tonight. But let's see then what Bashu can do in just a few moments' time when he does get onto another flying lap, Cameron.
Yeah, Bashu is just going around the final corners now. He said the DRS detection zone is quite late on there, so if you're hampered by dirty air, it might be a little bit of a struggle to get within DRS range. And there goes DRS on the AlphaTauri. The wing opens up, providing a bit more extra straight line speed, something which is very useful in not only qualifying but also during the race to assist you in overtaking. Now, I do love this track. Playing it in single player and a bit of online work when you're not getting torpedoed by other cars, you do find there's plenty of overtaking opportunities, especially around these slow speed corners. You've got straights into heavy braking zones, and also quite a technical circuit because, like for example, this corner here, you can really try and balance the car, be careful of the track limits, and then this is a very tricky corner. The camber wants to make the car go further right than intended, then back down the hill, and then once again climbing up into a extended braking zone, which you can actually attempt a quite daring overtaking move throughout that corner. And Bashu over daring there and has invalidated that lap as RSD in McLaren, the Papaya team, currently on pole with a 1:16.7, 3/10 gap. That's quite a large gap to the rest of the field there. And again, McLaren are looking strong. Fozzy?
Yeah, but Kangaskhan has just set a purple sector 1. So let's ride on board with Kangaskhan and see what he can do as he negotiates a AlphaTauri and a Mercedes driver in front of him. They should be, if they're not on a flying lap, getting out of the way fairly swiftly. The AlphaTauri does do just that. Let's see if it's impacted him though as he comes up around turn this corner here and finishes sector 2, and let's see what it's going to be. It is a purple sector 2 as well. So let's see what Kangaskhan... You're right, Cameron, laughing again.
Sorry, I've just been bemused, that's okay, it's fine. Kangaskhan, as you said, about to finish the lap around the famous this corner here as well. Turn 15 on the exit, and right up to the line, takes a very tight, narrow line actually, more to the side of the pit wall, and that seems to work for him because 1:16.432, again 3/10 gap between him and RSD, so championship elect showing how it's done, and he could do with a bit more a strong performance if he is to counter the rise of Jasper, who we said earlier has won two races in the last 4. Meanwhile, the only podium Kangaskhan has had, Jesus words, okay, was in Russia, followed by 3 consecutive points where he only scored the 1 point in Hungary, 6 points in Netherlands, and 8 in Italy, whereas Jasper scored the full 16 in Russia, the full complement, 5 in Hungary, 4 in the Netherlands, and it's good 15 for Jasper in Italy. And it's very good for Jasper once again, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he just goes to pole position, provisional pole position of 1:16.2, a couple of attempts ahead of Kangaskhan. Mercked is up there as well with a 1:16.5, so it is McLaren and then a Williams sandwich between both of those McLarens. So it's looking good for Williams so far. Where are they in the standings? They are currently second behind McLaren, so they'll be wanting to get the strongest points haul that they can from this Wednesday evening race. Looking to take that forward into the race. We've said a few times, Cameron, Portugal's one of those tracks. It's not like Monaco, it's not like Hungary. You are able to overtake here. So with that in mind, how important would you say this qualifying session is? Obviously all qualifying sessions are important, but knowing you can overtake here and what the tyre wear is like here, do you approach this session differently to any other session, or would you approach it roughly the same?
It's the same mentality, isn't it? You want to be at the front or around about the front, no matter where you are. It more is a bit of a useful thing if you're maybe not the best qualifier, and it allows you know that you can make up positions on the first opening laps, whereas you can't do that on certain tracks like Monaco and places like that. But Maya also jumping up to 3rd place there for Red Bull. Red Bull won a little bit of a missed area, I'd say, in the constructors. They seem to not being anywhere too serious. Nowhere near the front. They're on 73 points. They're a fair few ahead of Ferrari. About 20 points ahead and about 20 behind Alpine. So they're kind of in the middle of nowhere. In fact, they are literally in the middle. P5 in the constructors. But Maya just assisting that battle to potentially hold on to that lead from Ferrari or even make headway towards Alpine. Currently provisional P3, which I think is a very good place to be. Behind the pole sitter, getting the slipstream into turn 1. And that can only be a good thing. As we have a yellow flag. That's just the Alfa Romeo there of Marcus, who is just getting out of the way of the cars who are charging through their flying laps. And the Mercedes behind Adam, the Mercedes behind Maya might be getting a bit of a slipstream here from Maya. It's Jeremy Clarkson. It's a little bit of a long-range tow, and Maya comes into the pits, not improving on that lap, and with only 3 minutes and 20 seconds left, it's crucial to get in, get your new sets of tyres on, and get out and get ready for the final run of this 18-minute qualifying session. Nicholas Swain not doing so well in the championship, however, has just set a purple Sector 2. The 37 car not joined by Daigoro this evening. Scuderia only have the one driver in that red famous car. And what can they do? Can they challenge towards the front of the grid? Heading over towards the line now. Again, that tight line towards the pit wall, and that promotes it to P7. So not a massive improvement, but just slightly edging his way up towards the grid. But is about 4 or 5 tenths off the provisional pole time of Jassa, which I think is quite a formidable time, Fozzy.
Yeah, that's a really good time by Jasper. Very close between Kankian and Maya as well. Just 4 thousandths of a second between P2 and P3. Liam Markham is out on another outlap. He's just warming up his tyres and about to get out of the way of his teammate Bashi, who has just set a purple Sector 1. So let's ride on board with Bashi for the remainder of this lap. He's only got a few corners to go and see where he can get up the timing tower. He currently remains in P13, which in standard cases would be okay, but in this case it's bottom of the grid. So he'll be wanting to try and make a bit of an improvement. Takes that tight line that we saw drivers doing earlier, and from P13 he goes up to P6, which is a good improvement, and he's giving his teammate Liam Markham a tow as well down the pit straight. So let's continue following the AlphaTauri around as Liam Markham doesn't do what he did just a few laps ago and end up on the grass on the right hand side there. It's a tight corner through turn 3, and this in the race would be your DRS detection point, and you get the DRS from that line there all the way down this bit of a downhill slope. Well, I say bit, quite a significant downhill slope in towards turn 5. Kiss the apex on the left and then steadily pick up the drive on the exit. You just got a little bit greedy with the accelerator there. He's got a car in front of him as well. It's a Mercedes, but that might get out of the way. It should get out of the way very shortly. Here is the most dangerous corner, I think. If you get too heavy on the gas, you will be spinning around. We've seen Liam Markham do that once already this session. The only driver to spin around that I've seen so far. Found the famous this corner here, and then downhill it is once more into turn 12. The driver gets out of the way in that Mercedes on the left hand side, and again we're kissing the apex and actually aborting this lap, it seems, does Liam Markham. Getting out of the way of drivers, or maybe trying to go again. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, last few moments of this qualifying session now.
Jasper and his teammate RSD, a bit of a train behind Cass. And I think you're going to end up, as you see, there's another pack again with the AlphaTauri, the Mercedes and the Alfa Romeo, all in these little clumps, trying to get a bit of slipstream, but you don't want to get too close, or else you're going to get too much of the dirty air, and that's going to only hamper you rather than help you. And so there might be a few difficulties in the final stage of qualifying. We're under the 30-second mark now. Most of the drivers should be able to get and start their final lap. Myers on the final run towards the finish line, and it's 18 seconds, and there goes the Cass, the Alpine there, also beginning his lap. We've got 12-11 seconds. Going to be a bit tight for the McLaren driver of Jasper, but should get over in plenty of time, and does so, and he is the last car to start the flying lap. So who can improve out of Kangaskhan and Jasper? Swain has had his qualifying, Fozzy.
Merckx was on a flying
Jasper's
lap.
off. Jasper is off on turn 2. Jasper will not improve in this qualifying session. Carry on, Fozzy.
someone who was going to was murked, but he invalidated it at turn 11, so he went a little bit too wide. Maya, I believe, said a purple sector 1, so keep your eyes on the Red Bull driver. Currently third, might be first or second if he can make an improvement. Kangakoon takes provisional pole, 1:16.243, less than 10th ahead of Jasper. Gets the Williams up onto the front row. Maya sets a purple sector 2. He's only got a few more corners to go through sector 3, including a very long right-hander of turn 15, and he just about manages to not spin it around. Around 14 he goes, and then it's heavy on the throttle and full power all the way to the line for the Red Bull driver, who is currently third, as we say, the only Red Bull driver here on the track tonight. He's made it around turn 15, opens up the DRS, and let's see where that gets him. It doesn't look like it's an improvement for Maya, Cameron.
Yeah, it's not an improvement for Maya. RSD comes over the line, and he moves up to P5, and Cass P4. There's a bit of a mix-up there. XR Merchant's return is P6, Bashi 7th. Adam, again, moving up to PCF1, his first qualifying outing in P8, ahead of his teammate. Importantly for him, there's Jeremy Clarkson, is currently in P10. Marcus P11 off the track, regaining on the track now. And Markham in 12th, and Edu down in 13th. So there we have it. Kangakoon, the champion-elect, the person who's leading the championship, starts P1, and Jasper, the person who's second in the championship, starts right behind Kangakoon. So this could be a feisty battle into turn 1 and for 33 laps around the beautiful Algarve. And Maya, Cass, RSD, they're in for plenty of chance to make up an insane amount of positions and potentially end up winning this race. We've seen drama happen last time in Italy, where the race leader, well, the predicted race leader, changed hands a multitude of times, and it could be the same story this evening. So as qualifying comes to an end, there is your order. We look forward to the race start and who will come out on top, or will there be a calamity in turn 1, Fozzy?
Yeah, it's a roughly long run down towards turn 1. Obviously, it's not the longest, not the likes of Mexico, for example, but then again, it's not like Monaco, where you haven't got too far to run either. Anyway, across the line goes Marcus to end qualifying, but it looks like he's just started another flying lap, so we'll see what he manages to do with that in the 18 seconds we've got on the countdown clock. But yes, like I say, it's average run down towards turn 1 with a bit of undulation as well, so it could get a little bit spicy as Marcus nearly goes into the back of an AlphaTauri there, and just cuts a bit of the grass whilst doing so. 2 seconds, 1 second left, and some of the other drivers decided to...
the rest of the grid have joined us on the same day.
Yeah, it looks like they've just joined us. Welcome Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Räikkönen, Sergio Perez, and the countdown clock, which is stuck on 1. Might be doing a bit of filling here as we just
oh dear,
continue to follow whoever we're following around. If this is what we're going to see in a race, this could be quite interesting, couldn't it?
Yeah, an endless race, 24 hours of Portimao. I think it could be what's coming here. Not too sure. It seems to be an apparent issue with the lobby, and hopefully it'll be resolved shortly. And I'm sure Fozzy will give a word in case anything has changed during the IRL chat at all. But from what we know so far, it's a bit of an issue going on, is to say the least. But never mind, qualifying has now ended. We also have a connection issue with Marcus there. The flying fin was flying around more than he should have been. And I'm not sure the FIA will be happy, but we can continue. There is your qualifying classification. Short qualifying, 18 minutes has culminated in those results there. So half a tenth split in the top 2, Fozzy.
Edu on the medium tyres, the only one to qualify on the medium tyres, and quite close to that time at Liam Markham set. On the soft tyres, what do you expect, Cameron, to see from Edu then if we go forward into the race with him on the medium tyre, the only one taking that alternate strategy? Are you expecting any strategy wonders from him?
Well, Edu won in the Netherlands, so he's a pretty good driver. He knows how to win races and score points as well. Pretty consistent point scoring. So if he has the pace, then he will be certainly looking to potentially take those mediums at the start. Obviously, they're qualified out of the top 10, so they choose whatever tyre they wish to start on. But that is encouraging pace for Edu there. If he knows he's that close to fellow soft runners, it might allow him to get up the grid a little bit further. And as we now head into the race session, clouds look a bit grey there, but I don't see any rain, Fozzy, so I think we're in the clear this time. Yeah,
I say no rain at the moment. It's rather overcast here on the Algarve for what is going to be the first Portuguese Grand Prix on PC F1 in the Invictus Racing League, sponsored by GT Mega and as always in partnership with gridfinder.com and Driver61, where we just await the drivers to finalise their setups. Obviously we're in Parc Ferme, so there isn't a great deal that can be done, but strategy is always something to play with here. And I believe we're hearing from Race Control, it is a dry race from the start, with the potential coming for a bit of rain 15 minutes in. So we like a bit of strategy, don't we? And it always seems to get a little bit wet here when we're commentating. And also it might be getting dry again 5 to 10 minutes after that rain. So if it is just a short spout of rain, that could be quite an interesting one, especially on a track where we know it's not always the easiest to drive around with the curbs and the camber and the undulation, as we've said so many times throughout qualifying. This could be quite an interesting one.
Indeed, and it'll be interesting to see that battle between Kangaskhan and Jasper. We haven't seen them fully battle on track with each other, and this might be the first time. Jasper joined a bit later on into the season, 3 races in, and has showcased his pace as Kangaskhan leads the field away. There is your predictable pit stop strategy: 2-stop, soft, medium, but the drivers do tend to choose something different. They might prefer a 1-stop, or they might just chance it and go with something completely different altogether, especially if, as mentioned earlier, changeable conditions are a risk of occurring. Then that might bring some more thought process into strategy. Extend the softs until the rain comes, quick stint on the wet tyres, and then back to the slicks, or will they stay out on the slicks? And that hasn't necessarily gone well for certain McLaren drivers in the past. But Kangaskhan, I believe this is the first time he's qualified on pole for a little while, and he's normally had to make up his positions from the midfield, and he's done a very good job of that. So what can he do leading from the front, Fozzy?
Well, hopefully retain his championship lead. That's what he'll be looking to do. The top 2 in the front row on the grid are the top 2 in the championship. Kangaskhan against Jasper. The latter on 70 points and the former on 97. And it's, like you say, been a few races since we saw Kangaskhan on the podium. Last time that was back in Russia, and his last win was in Austria, even further before we had our break. Last time around, though, in Italy, it was Jasper that won. So can he continue that winning form throughout the next 33 and a sector laps as we finish this formation lap? Jasper, Meyer, Cass, all lining up behind Kangaskhan. We'll be looking to keep a lead into turn 1, but we've seen even in the real world and other races in other leagues that it can get quite spicy down towards that corner if someone's wanting to do quite a daring dive. But it should be a good 33 laps, Cameron. I'm looking forward to it as always, and I like to think you are as well.
Indeed, looking forward to this one. Not many rounds left of the season. It's coming to an end very quickly, and so each race certainly does count for the drivers, as they now all form up on the grid, awaiting those iconic 5 red lights to begin. And we are reminded once again of the pit stop strategy powered by AWS. And now the final car lines up, Edu in the Haas, and they get ready to get underway in the Algarve. Hear the crowds roaring, and here we go then. 13 drivers, 33 laps, 5 red lights, and we are go, go, go in Portimao. And Kangaskhan gets a good start, and Jasper is alongside, and look at Cass already up into P3. Meyer alongside him too, around the outside tries Meyer, and it is Jasper into the lead of the race on the exit of turn 1, and it's McLaren that leads in Portimao. And meanwhile Kangaskhan manages to take P2, or remain in P2. Cass up once more, and RSD, the other McLaren, is side by side with Meyer. Fozzy.
Yep, Cass was looking racy right from the get-go. Jasper made that move, and a key move if he can keep it through into the race as well. The 2 Alpha Tauri seem to be battling further back, as RSD has Meyer for company as well. Meyer going wide at turn 1, and also now going wheel to wheel with Merckx, who manages to step ahead of Meyer, but it's Jasper that continues his lead from Kangaskhan.
Yeah, Kangakon's trying to chase down Jasper. Jasper with a sting in his tail. Cass just behind them two as well. He's looking for a bit of fortune and a bit of luck to come his way. RSC already at 1 position. Maya down 3. And Nicholas Swain, the only Ferrari, down to the back of the pack in P13. But the gap between the top 2 drivers is closer than ever. And Kangakon now will have the slipstream into turn 1. Will have the straight line speed over Jasper. And will Jasper be able to defend? Edu is at 5 positions from his
goes Jeremy Clarkson. He's had contact with Edu back in the midfield there. They were fighting side by side through the final corners. Jeremy Clarkson struggling to get that Mercedes back on the track. It's a disastrous start for Clarkson, who is 6th in the championship at the moment, looking to make progress further up in the standings. I can't quite see if he's got wing damage. It doesn't look like he does, so he might be okay to continue, in which he is doing, but contact between him and the fast driver Edu, Cameron.
Edu also now in battles with Adam. He managed to take the inside line from the outside and is now in a bit of a drag race with Adam as we head down in this left turn. A bit of a late braking zone. Edu on the outside, just keeping within track limits, solidifies his position in P7. And Nicholas Swain working his way up. Marcus down 12th. And Jeremy Clarkson, as you said, after coming into battle, has got a few wounds to heal in P13. 5 tenths separate the top 2 now. Jasper is flying and is flying away from Kangakon in the Williams. Cass maintaining P3. He might come under pressure soon from RSC, who looks to turn the wick up and potentially challenge for a podium. It could be another double podium for McLaren. They had a 1-2 in Italy, and they could have it all once more in Portimao. It's early days yet though, only lap 2 as we head on towards lap 3, where DRS will be enabled. And look at the gap, Fozzy, 7 tenths between the top 2. That is a mighty gap for such an early stage. I think Jasper definitely has the better race car, but what will be like on the tyres? Will Cancon be able to take advantage when it comes to the battle on tyres, or will he have to forfeit some capability to the likes of Cass?
Talking of tyres, Liam Markham's been struggling on those mediums. He just doesn't seem to be able to fire them up and get the temperature into those tyres. So hopefully he's going to be able to try and make a bit more progress on those mediums and make that strategy work out for him. But from 7 tenths to 5 tenths, Kangakan is gaining on Jasper. It is a dream start though for Jasper. He's managed to get ahead and stay ahead without mega threat from behind. He's not been side by side with Kangakan. He has managed to keep that gap and maintain it, and that's what we'll be wanting to do as we continue further into this race. I'm not too sure if it is Marcus actually driving his Ghost at the moment. That might be the AI, but the closest battle at the moment, Merck still gaining on the McLaren of RSD, and he has been doing so for the past lap and a bit. He'll be looking to try and make a move. We're on lap 3 of the race. DRS big drag reduction system will be enabled, so we might start to see some moves and gauge just how powerful it's going to be on this track, Cameron.
Look at the pack though, involving Merckx as well, right in the middle. It's quite a long train, and that will become a DRS train no doubt, and the leader of that pack, Cass, might find himself in trouble as RSD is also potentially having to defend from Merckx with DRS here. Who's going to use overtake and get that extra horsepower, extra boost? And McLaren looks to make a slight defensive manoeuvre. It's not enough to allow Merckx through, and Merckx remains P5. RSD still remains P4. Edu trying to get his way up as Myers getting his way towards the steward's office. The 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, most likely track limits related, as he continues his little battle with the Haas driver, who's making progress massively. And look at progress being made by Merckx. P4 now on his return to PC F1, got the DRS and into the braking zone, was able to outmatch the RSD driven McLaren there, and now is up to P4. Will he be a threat for the top runners, the top 3, or will he help his teammate out and get back some big points for Williams, while Meyer is going to be remaining to try and take that lead over Ankara Adam? It's early days yet. 3 seconds will put him all the way back to Liam Markham just outside the point, so he's going to have to battle hard, but who knows what other penalties will be coming towards other drivers, Fozzy.
Yeah, a bit of a disastrous start for Meyer. 4 laps in, 4 positions down, plus penalties. Been going side by side quite a bit with the racy looking Haas of Edu, who's been in the wars a little bit, but he's managed to make up some positions. We saw him have a bit of contact with Jeremy Clarkson, who is making progress, by the way, just coming through turn 30 now. But yeah, Edu up 7 positions so far. The biggest gain of anybody on the track at the moment, it's Adam and RSD who remain in the same positions as where they started the race. Everybody else has either lost or gained positions according to the timing tower, and we do see people really, we see Nicholas Swain, getting past Liam Markham, who, as I said earlier, was struggling on those medium tyres. Jamie Clarkson in clean air manages to set a fastest lap on the soft tyre at the moment. But yeah, be interesting to see, like I say, what Liam Markham's able to do on those medium tyres. At the moment, it doesn't look like it's going all too well for him. Up at the front, Jasper's lead has been cut by half to just 4 tenths.
And Kangaskhan will have DRS once more on that back straight as it stands at the moment. And he is starting to forge a little bit of room to manoeuvre with Cass, the Alpine. But he will soon be chomping at the bit too. And it's Alpine Cass is probably the most comfortable driver in that top 6, top 7. He's got about 5 tenths to work with to Merckx. Merckx is driving a really good race on his return from the Mercedes outfit to the Williams outfit. And now we'll see how they fare in the DRS. Jasper, I imagine, will have to be using a bit of deployment if he wants to stay ahead of Kangaskhan. And Kangaskhan's already boosting out the final corner. And let's just watch this battle now. See how much he gains. It's about 6 tenths at the final corner. Where will it be heading into turn 1? How potent is the drag reduction system here? In real life, it was very strong indeed. In fact, maybe too strong. And it cut that lead by about half there, Fozzy. About 3 tenths gained in DRS, but not enough to make a move or even think about making a move for the lead. And maybe that is factored into Kangaskhan's strategy, just holding on, getting towed away from the rest of the pack. And then we'll have battles later on as RSD remains in P5 still. And it is a bit of a DRS train forming here. And we're waiting for some drivers to make that move, make that push for the overtake. And both ERS management as well as on track, Fozzy.
Yeah, people will be trying to manage their tyres, knowing that there is going to be some wet weather in about 10 minutes time. Down that main straight, Kangaskhan wasn't deploying any energy, so as you say, he might just be using Jasper to tow him along and try to build a bit of a gap to Cass behind. All the gaps sort of remaining in that same 6-5 tenth window we've seen for the past few laps. RSD though is the one gaining on Merckx significantly, Maya on Edu as well. So the gaps are coming down. Someone's going to have to make a move sooner or later, and I imagine the way these gaps are going, and with DRS in Wood, we might be seeing that quite soon.
Indeed, we're on lap 6, on to lap 7 now of 33. It's flying by so far with the cars at maximum racing speed on these soft tyres in the DRS too, but no one gaining enough in the DRS to make the move. They don't want to waste too much time, of course, or else you find yourself trying to make one move but losing up 4 positions, and that would be devastating for your race.
Adam nearly made a move on Maya down that main straight. He needed about 100 metres more or so, and through turns 1, 2, 3 and 4 he has dropped back a couple of tenths, but Adam's got the pace in that Mercedes to pass for Red Bull. He just needs to find a spot to do it, Cameron.
Yeah, and he's one of the few drivers, in fact only 2 drivers that remain where they started. He started in P8 and is currently in P8. So all in all, a decent start for the Mercedes driver, the PC F2 champion of Season 12. And he looks to forge his way here in PCF1 within Season 13, with only about 4 rounds left, including this one. But just riding on board with Adam, you can see the cars are just sort of following each other really well, actually, but just not enough room to either think about a move or make the move. And they are just saving for the DRS zone down the main straight. And Adam also suffering a bit of oversteer as well previously, managed to keep it contained. And 7 tenths once again is that gap between Jasper and Kangaskhan. We'll see that start to come down, but I do wonder if anyone is going to make a move. Potentially Maya, who looks to gain about 2 tenths within the DRS zone, but it's about a stalemate really. Everyone's got DRS except from the conductor of the train, and that train basically goes all the way up to the lead, and Jasper is maintaining that lead very successfully so far, Fozzy.
Yeah, a well-driven train. One Francis would be impressed with. Maya, though, as you say, the one who's looking rather racy here, trying and gaining to get past Edu, but he's just not able to make it come around. And there we are. We have a second penalty of the race. Liam Markham with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Looked like he went a little bit wide at turn 4 there. He's got a bit of a gap to make up as well, has Liam. Those medium tyres really dropping him back from the field. He was up there, you know, fighting with the guys, but he's dropped so far back now that he might need to be reconsidering his strategy and thinking what he's going to be doing going further forward. Someone else who might want to rethink about track limits is Nicholas Swain, also a bit further back from the rest of that main field, gaining another penalty there, the 3rd one we've seen so far. But it's around turn 13 we go, and into 14 where we might see some moves this time around. Maya is close to Edu, and if he can keep that gap, he should have enough speed and a small enough gap to be able to make a move down in towards turn 1. Let's see what Maya does. I'm keeping an eye on his steering wheel, see if he deploys, and at the moment he doesn't look to be. He's got his DRS open, but he's being towed along by the train, which is ongoing. We have moved to the back as Bashy comes into the pits to get rid of his soft tyres. Don't think he had any damage, so that's a strategy call. We'll see how that one plays off. Don't forget, rain in about 5 minutes.
Rain in about 5 minutes, so bit of drama to go on here. Bashy goes on to the medium tyres, taking an early stop. It was about lap 11 to 13 was the window, as predicted by AWS. So a bit of an early stop there, an undercut, and it's worth a try, the undercut here. In the F1 game, it's quite potent, and especially when the train is that compact and the gaps are so low, it is worth a try and to jump your fellow drivers. And talk about jumping fellow drivers, Cancon is closing up a little bit in the corners there, and but Jasper just has that straight line speed, it seems, and is able to power away both cars, Mercedes powered, and RSD though is closing up indeed to the other Williams of Merckx.
Yep, Maya was really getting close to Edu then. I think Edu had a bit of a moment coming out of either turn 7 or turn 8, and if he keeps this gap, Maya, he really will be passed on this DRS straight, but he goes wide through turn 14 and loses all the attempts which he's just gained, so he starts the process over again and remains 4.5 yeah, just under half a second behind the Haas of Edu, who in turn is half a second. You got something fancy on your end there, Cameron?
I do not, no. I thought I did, and no, it's just my game bugging slightly. I thought we got a bit of excitement going on there, but never mind. Service resumes as normal, and Jasper still leads, and wow, Merckx on the brakes there.
Very
massively close to the Cass Alpine there. Almost an instant, but manages to avert that, and no crisis to deal with here, and Williams are going to gain really well here. P2 and P4 matched out with McLaren's P1 and P5. That championship constructors battle is certainly getting close, isn't it, Fozzy?
Yeah, the very first words I said at the start of the stream were this could be quite an exciting championship battle in both the constructors and the drivers' term, and well, we weren't lying, it is looking like it's going to be quite a spicy one. It's McLaren that leads from Williams at the moment. Alpine's up there in the mix as well. No overtakes yet though, but it's building.
Yeah, the storm is building both on track and potentially in the clouds above as well. We're yet to see what level of rain we're going to be blessed with, or if we're going to be blessed with any rain at all, but that will certainly shake things up just a little bit. I have packed my umbrella this time. I made the mistake the last couple race rounds, but we've got it packed this time, and it's ready. A quick deployment.
And into the pits there.
It goes Merckx, indeed, and
yeah,
he is
Merckx
also trying the undercut.
The first one, as you say, trying that undercut, followed by Maya into the pits, so it's going to be, I assume, another set of dry compounds at the moment, and it's a hard tyres for the Red Bull and for the Williams. When they get down to the end of the pit lane, goes for the mediums, so we see a change up in strategy there. Maybe the weather has changed. Kanga can note, look how close he is towards Jasper. This could be a move as Jasper tries to defend. Kanga would have wanted to have made the move there if he could have done, but he's going to have to stick with the McLaren for about a sector and a bit before we get round to turn 15 to try your DRS again. We are a third way through the race at the moment. It's the IRL PC F1 League, sponsored by GT Mega and in partnership with gridfinder.com and Drive 61, where we await the rain and the weather to see what happens in the strategy of this already exciting Portuguese Grand Prix, where everybody's staying close together and the battle's on track and really starting to brew up.
Indeed, we're waiting for the clash of swords, or the clash of tyres, to begin. You can just feel the tension building. Kangakon is a little bit closer to Jasper, but loses, interestingly, on the exit of that corner, suffering a bit of understeer, having to not put the power down all the way, or else he suffers going off track. It's about that 6/10 gap once again. That'll come down to around 3/10, I'd imagine, unless Jasper looks to defend with ERS deployment. He does not, and there we go, round to the 3/10 gap. It's rinse and repeat once again for Kangakon, but he did get very close into turn 5. And I wonder if that's where they are susceptible, as we see drivers into the pits. Swain and Adam, we'd imagine, also going on to the medium tyre, which makes me think, oh, the hard tyre there for Adam, interestingly. Interesting choice for himself there. He's going right to the end, so it's a one stop for Adam then, and it's a one stop for Maya as well. So a bit of a mix-up of strategy to pick and mix there, and we'll see which one fares better. But this tells me, Fozzy, that they're not too worried about the rain. It's going to come, but it looks like it's not going to be sufficiently wet to warrant going on to the wet tyres. He enters, or the full wet, depending how much of a downpour we get, especially Maya, Adam and Marcus, who were taking that gamble and running with it, and whether that will come back to help them or hamper them, we'll only know when the rain comes down and see the severity of it. But you can see on the tyres of Cancon there, the tyre wear, you can see that sort of graining look, that slight graphical detail. Just shows you the tyre wear on those softs is certainly getting pretty sore, and someone else is finding a bit of pain, and that is Bashi, who is around. He boxed earlier, did the undercut, and that is not going to help him. But Jasper comes into the pits, getting rid of those soft tyres. What will he go on to? Is it going to be mediums? It is indeed. It's the yellow wall tyre, so it's a 2-stop minimum for Jasper there. And Kangakon now, if he's got the speed, he could potentially try a slight overcut, or whether he will follow routine and box within this lap or the next one. You'd imagine he's going to follow suit and box this lap, Fozzy.
Yeah, Edu getting a 3-second time penalty, one of the contenders for at least a podium spot in this race. He's not going to be too pleased with himself for getting that one. He's trying to stick with RST, the McLaren in front of him, both on the soft tyres, both having a little bit of draining as well, as are Cass and Kangakan. Kangakan you alluded to earlier as we were having a bit of graining. So the top 4 as Bashi gets another 3-second time penalty. It's not been a good lap for Bashi. Here's the AlphaTauri that we saw spinning around. Bashi bashing it in the wall. Managing though to keep his front wing all in position. Maybe he just hadn't got those medium tyres fired up to temperature yet. But like you say, that rain, it's not in sight yet. It doesn't seem any darker than what it was at the start of the race. So all still to play for at the moment. I also see RSD and Edu taking 2 different lines through turn 14 now. Edu going a bit tighter than RSD, and RSD going even tighter to find himself into the pit lane, as is Kangakan as well. So your P1 and P3 in the championship coming down into the pits. Could this be a championship deciding pit stop? Likely not. We're seeing the medium tyre being a favoured choice. Only a few going for the hards, Adam being one of those. We saw a box a lap or 2 ago. Cass and Edu though still out there on the softs, Cameron.
It's going to be close between Jasper and the Williams driver. It looks like the Jasper McLaren is just going to get it, or does he indeed? In fact, he does just about. That is close there, but the undercut prevails, and it's Jasper who remains that lead when all the top 3 drivers have boxed. But that gives hope to Cancon that it wasn't too much of a difference boxing a lap later, and in fact that'll only help him later on. Should tyre wear be a bit of a concern, having that 1 lap fresher rubber, and is already within 6/10 of Jasper, Fozzy.
Yeah, the 2 Williams were getting a bit close with each other through turns 1 and 2. Murd almost going into the back of his teammate Kangakan. 2 guys from Excel Racing excelling very well in this race so far, with pit stops all accounted for. Edu still out there on the soft tyres, as is Cass. Edu up 11 positions from where he started. As I think that is Cass coming into the pits. It is Cass coming into the pits. Jeremy Clarkson's not too far behind them as well. Of course, he had a bit of an issue, with Edu towards the start of the race. I'm going to have a look at what Cass goes on to, and it is, again, the medium tyres for the Alpine driver. So that's definitely the favoured tyres as we approach half race distance. Cameron, how far do you think Edu can take those soft tyres, as we see the yellow flag in Sector 3? Looks like an AlphaTauri, but it's all been cleaned up. So what do you think about Edu on those soft tyres? Do you expect to see him go much further than this, or do you think we'll see him in the pit lane in due course?
I'd imagine it'll be the latter, Fozzy. He's done 14 laps of them already. They will be overheating and feeling the pain around Algarve, and I'd be wanting to get rid of them pretty quickly, but of course he's got the penalty, so he's just trying something different just to give any sort of chance of being within that fight. As we do approach halfway distance mentioned, and Cancon sets a purple sector 1, so has the pace on the medium tyre and is back in that fight with Jasper, about 4/10 between them. But yes, Edu, he's got about 20.45 second gap to Jasper, so he'll come out somewhere around, you'd say probably P4, P5. And it's going to be a matter of getting that pit entry nailed. And as he comes around the final corner, does he box? Yes, he does. So he has answered all our questions. He had enough. He wants some new set of tyres, and that will only help him by extending this stint, as we said earlier, when it comes to the latter end of the race, or potentially the next stop, as we do imagine it's going to be a 2-stop race. However, we have seen before that what is predicted isn't what is always, was always carried out by the drivers, and they may look to do something different and potentially even try a one-stop, as RC sets a fast lap of a 1:19.076. And where does Edu come out? He comes out around, let's speed P6.
Around, that's what it does, around does go. Edu lipping the curb, oh, nearly coming out in front of the Mercedes there, not for pit exit that he would have wanted. That might ruin his race just a little bit. He had an Alpine of Cass coming past him, which I think he might have been looking in the mirrors for, but around he went, and around again he needs to go. No damage yet though, but has he flat spotted those tyres? Not what you want when you're coming out of the pits, from what I can see. It all looks to be safe though, but up at the front it's Jasper and Kangaskhan again, but don't rule out Merckx, he's not too far behind either.
Yeah, Merckx on his return has a solid chance of winning this race. He's on the older medium tyres of the two ahead of him. He's done 4 laps on them, and currently the Jasper's done 2, Kangaskhan's done 1, so that won't be a matter just yet, but it will be towards the end. And it is a shame for Edu there, because you're going to lose all the time. We're going to gain all the tyre temperature in the spin, and then lose it all immediately when your car comes to a rest, and that puts you at more of a risk of spinning even further. And that drops down to P9, so still within the points. He's got Liam behind him. Interesting, he's on the sauce, because he did the medium to start with. So now he is on the fast tyre, or what should be the fast tyre. And talking about fast, here comes Kangaskhan gaining on Jasper about 2/10 there, so that's closer than we've seen before at the start of the turn 1 complex. And if he can hang on, he might stand a chance in the next DRS zone. But you've got to be careful. You don't want to overdo the throttle. You don't want to overstep your mark. And here we go then. Kangaskhan does gain, but ever so slightly. Is nowhere near enough to make a move. He tries to go offline to get rid of the dirty air during braking and try a bit of a switchback there. A half attempt at a switchback. And it still remains in 3 attempts. And now you've just got to hang on for the rest of Sector 2 and a bit of Sector 3. Where Sector 3 is a bit of a better chance for you. Less dirty air affected due to the more straight line nature of Sector 3. But he is holding on pretty well. About 4 attempts now, the gap to Jasper from Kangaskhan. And Jasper might start feeling a bit of pressure from the Frenchman who chases down the Dutchman here. And about 5 attempts now. We do seem to see Kangaskhan always lose a bit of time around the final proper corner here, but now he will gain that time back, and this could be pretty close. He normally gains about 3 tenths in the slipstream. He's got deployment, he's got DRS, and Jasper goes defensive, so Jasper is feeling the pressure. Where does Kangaskhan go? The inside, the outside. He chooses the outside. Through turn 1, it's Jasper that still leads. He carries more speed through the corner, but that is a show of force from Kangaskhan saying, look, I'm here to make the things a bit more interesting. So don't go counting your chickens just yet. And he'll have DRS again, remember. He gets DRS, he gains. Jasper weaves slightly to the left. Again, he chooses the outside. They are side by side. Will Kangaskhan get the better run? He goes off the track limits. And then once again, side by side once more. Thinks better of it, tucks behind the wing of that McLaren. And that is potentially a changing point in this race where Kangaskhan's gone for the move, but it's not paid off. And now that gap rises to around 5 tenths and needs to keep that under control, Fozzy.
And if the clouds are anything to go by, it's looking a bit drier as well. So I think the weather may have changed from the forecast we got at the start. Kangaskhan might be a bit annoyed he didn't manage to make that move pull off. I think he just wants to get it done now. He's tired of staring at the rear end of that McLaren. And we saw him as he came down the main straight. He was deploying his energy. The first time I'd seen him do that in quite a few laps, so he's in that racing mood. Let's see what he does, Kangaskhan, as we go around turn 15. There's no deployment yet. I think he knows he's a bit too far back this time around, 7 tenths, to make a move. Further back in the field, where everybody is spread out by 1 or 2 seconds. It's a fairly even-paced race at the moment, but with a mixture of hard, soft and medium tyres on the track, it could all get a bit spicy. And even if Merckx gets involved in this fight for the front as well, we could see a three-way fight for the lead. Don't discount RSD either. He's only half a second behind Merckx.
Yeah, Merckx might be playing a different role to what he was playing earlier in the season. Earlier on in the season, he was trying to attack Kangaskhan and take away the championship from him. Obviously, he was the championship winner in season 12 of PC F1. And now he might be helping out his teammate by just stopping that pesky little RSD piloted McLaren from getting too close to the likes of Kangakon and playing the team role. We don't know whether Mert is here for a full-time seat or whether it is just for this evening. I believe just for this evening. So Mert will probably want to play the team role here. And we've seen the McLarens also play the team role in Italy, where RSD backed off and allowed Jasper just to take the win, as he was further ahead in the Drivers' Championship. So team tactics are aplenty, and that Constructors' battle, you know, it's a 1-4 for McLaren, but importantly a 2-3 for Williams, and that will bring things very close indeed. Very close is not the operative term for the gap between Kankon and Jasper. It's 7 attempts, that'll come down to 3 again, and I believe Kankon is just saving up his battery, saving his tyres for a little bit longer to make that last attack count and actually get the job done. He tried once, he's now having to recuperate his tyres as well as his energy levels to try again, but although it is pretty close heading into turn 5 on the DRS straight, and he is not deploying energy, but he is looking towards the inside, trying to fake one up the inside, backs out of it. Jasper's saying no, I'm going to call your bluff there, and you're not going to go for that move, and he was right. But now Kangakon looks to go to the inside here. That's a daring move, and that might just put Jasper on edge and make Jasper think about where he places that MCL 35M. A bit more contentious here. 3 tenths the gap between the two drivers now as we head towards the end of Sector 2. And Mert might start also wanting to defend from RSD soon, just to keep the McLaren driver occupied to not get in the way of this battle. And Jasper gets a bit of a poor exit, I'd say, actually, out that final corner. You see him struggling, starting all over the place, heading towards the outside. This might be Kangakon's best chance yet. It's about 4 tenths the gap now. Will he deploy his energy? That's the crucial question. Not yet, not at all. He does now have DRS. Will he activate his energy pack now? No, he does not boost, but look at him closing up on the wing. He takes to the inside into turn 1, and it is Kangakon trying the move once more, and it once more fails to do so, and it's Jasper that retains the lead again, Fozzy.
Yeah, great racing between these two, isn't it? Mert is probably sat just like we are watching it all unfold. We see no deployment from Kangakon again. He doesn't need it to get down through the second DRS rate. He takes to the inside line. Jasper's going to go for the switchback, though. We've seen the McLaren get by here in the real world. Almost touching wheels our way to side by side through Sector 2 we go. Oh, it's close, but Kangakon does just make it and hang on to that lead now. Jasper, though, we wanted to hunt him down, and we've seen through Sector 3, Jasper seems to have the pace through those final few corners, so if he can stay behind Kangakon through these corners here, he should have a good setup and a good run towards turn 1 as we get onto the main straight. Mert and RSD, though, they've caught up as well. It's almost a 4-way battle for the lead now. I couldn't tell you who's going to win this race.
Yeah, Mert has managed to close in. That battling, although mighty to watch between Jasper and Kangakon, has cost them a couple tenths, and that's brought Mert and RSD right into the frame, and even outside chance for Cass here. But who's going to close up and take the lead into turn 1? It's 5 tenths the gap. Jasper's not deploying. He has about half the energy of the full tank, but he will maybe just chance to move the inside, see if Kankon's going to go defensive. And once again, Kankon remains the stubborn Williams and does not change his course. I think that if you're going to go for the move, you're going to have to work for it, and working for it is Mert as he closes right up to Jasper. And now it might mean that the Williams driver wants to get a bit more involved in this battle and start playing a bit more of an attacking role against Jasper, as Liam Markham has left the session. Not sure what's going on there.
Kangakon got really squiggly out of turn 5 there. That sets Jasper up quite well as we head through 7 and into 8. Maybe those tyres on that, those medium tyres just starting to get a little bit out of that operating window what Kangakon would want him to be in. Although it looked like he's managed through those few corners back there to build a bit more of a gap. But yeah, that was twitchy from Kangakon. The first sign of, first sign I've seen from him, but things might be getting a little bit difficult in that Williams cockpit.
Yeah, and think for Mert, he's on 3-lap older medium tyres as well, so he's having to go through the same tribulations of dealing with the differing grip levels, and that's only going to harm him later on in this race. But we go on to the main straight once again, beginning lap 23. 10 laps left to make an impression on the championship for Jasper, as at the moment Kankon will extend his lead over the Dutch driver. And Mert gaining really far towards Jasper once more. I think Jasper might actually have to look more towards defending from the Williams rather than attacking the Williams, funnily enough. And RSC also will want to get involved. We see Liam Markham entering the pits, and we also saw there Mert struggling with grip, having to almost turn right to go left. And that was a pretty close call, but hasn't cost him too much time. About half a tenth, that would be close. Half a second behind Jasper.
Nicholas Swain and Adam going wheel to wheel. A hard tyre against the medium. Ferrari against Mercedes.
He doing it as well.
Yeah, we haven't been talking about this section of the grid for the past few laps. That battle up front has been oh so close, but Adam Swain and Edu all pretty close through sector 2 here, getting spicy in the midfield, one might say. But up at the front, we see them top 4, them top 5 drivers all getting rather close. What do you think about Meyer? Do you think he's going to be quite happy? He's got loads of space in front of him, with them all fighting. Behind him, he's got the exact same situation. He's running a bit of a lonely race, this Red Bull driver at the moment, especially when he hasn't even got his teammate. It really is a lonely one for Meyer today.
I think lonely, he won't mind, especially from behind with that 3-second penalty. He's currently safe, 3.9 seconds. He's just going to be focusing on that. P6 is decent points to bring home. P6 would get you 5 points.
That Adam and Nicholas Swain battle getting rather spicy, weaving and weaving down the main straight as Adam looks to break the toe and defend from Nicholas Swain. Let's follow this battle into the second DRS straight and see how things play out. Does Adam manage to get a good drive out? He does. He weaves to try and break that toe once more. Edu watches it all unfold. Adam stays in front just about, as it looks like Nicholas Swain wanted to try and dip a nose down the inside there. Didn't quite manage to make it pay off. But it shows what he's capable of, shows what he's thinking. He wants more positions. P8 is something he's not too happy with. Adam very squiggly again through turn 8. We've seen quite a few people struggle with traction over the past few laps. Maybe some of the tyres just aren't quite working on this surface. I mean, I don't know about you, Cameron, but I'm quite enjoying the sun as well. From what was a very overcast race start in the first few laps, it's looking more like the Algarve I expected. Oh, and around goes Nicholas Swain. Gets a little bit too greedy on the power. I was just talking about tyre temperature coming out of turn 13. It was just a little bit too much throttle. Span him around. He's got it going again. He didn't have any contact with anything. Is that a move for the lead?
Jasper trying to get the lead. Looks to go on the inside. Kangakon said not only that late defensive move from Kangakon. Almost in the braking zone. Looked clean from my perspective though. Right on the limit. And that stops Jasper from chancing his bets around the inside of turn 1, and that gap is closing up once more.
Nicholas Swain does get past Jeremy Clarkson. He had a spin just a moment ago and he found himself in a battle with the other Mercedes driver. Oh, and Jeremy Clarkson into the back of Nicholas Swain there. Does pick up a penalty. Doesn't pick up too much damage though. That, though, could have been race ending for one of the drivers. Should Jeremy Clarkson have not had the reactions that he did. Just mistimed his braking. Clarkson's got Bashi right behind him for company as well. So it's all kicking off at the back of the field. What's it like at the front?
Yeah, it's kicking off at the front of the field as well. Mert is gaining on Jasper. He's on older tyres, but that seems to not cause him any issues. Thus far, he's up 3 places from where he started. He could be up a couple more come the end of the next DRS straight. Jasper might have to look to go defensive here, and RSC will also want to charge on Mert. So it's a bit of an interesting battle, inter-team battles here for the potential race lead as we're on lap 26 of 33. Not long to go now. 4 tenths is the gap between Jasper and Kangakon. Jasper again going towards the inside, but backs out of it. Nowhere near enough distance left on that straight to make a move. But Mert is up right within that 2/10 region briefly there. Now backs down to a more comfortable 3-4 tenths. But he is right in the favourite to take P2, I'd say here, Fozzy. As we see him now gaining, looks towards the outside. Jasper following him to the outside. Bit of a squeeze there from Jasper, nothing too dangerous. Mert makes contact with Jasper, the front wing on the tyre, just a little bit of a rub just to let him know that he's there, that he's present, and that has importantly cost Jasper a heap load of time. A second now is the gap between Kangakon and Jasper as Kangakon goes slightly wide, catches the oversteer on the exit of that cambered corner and manages to go another day, and that brings the lead back down to 6 tenths once more. Mert fulfilling his role though, giving Jasper trouble and helping Kangakon out of a very difficult situation there.
As you said, all that battling what Jasper's doing, definitely helping Kangaskhan, but if Kangaskhan's struggling to control the car, then that brings Jasper and the guys behind him right back into contention. We go again round turn 15, down the main straight. Turn 15 as we're coming up to now isn't much of a corner in these Formula 1 cars, but it has got a lot of undulation and a lot of elevation change as well. Let's see then what Merckx can do. He's got DRS, but so does Jasper in front of him. No deployment from either of the top drivers. So they're all happy where they are at the moment. Merck just a little bit later on the brakes, looking to try and make a move on Jasper. Let's see as we go around turn 3. Oh, it looked like Merck went into the back of Jasper there. Already them able to make a move into turn 5 with the help of DRS and a bit of a downhill gradient towards it as well. Jasper's peeking over to the left-hand side to get out of the dirty air, but isn't able to make that move pay off. Neither is Merck as well. Let's continue to watch this battle at the front, though, and see if anybody has any issues on turn 8. We saw Kangaskhan last lap have a bit of a moment, Cameron, you mentioned it, just managed to catch a little bit of oversteer. They all managed to get through rather swiftly as well. Don't count out RSD and Cats, who are directly behind this train as well. For the top 5, it's chug-a-choo-choo to the end.
Indeed, the train is on its way to the final destination. The service will terminate at the end of lap 33, but who will be the conductor at that time? Merckx still is within the hunt of taking P2 here. Could be a 1-2 for Williams. The two Excel drivers, as I said earlier,
excelling. Down the inside goes Bashi on Nicholas Swain. It's an opportunistic move. It hasn't fully paid off. He nearly made it into turn 11, did Bashi, but Nicholas Swain just had the speed coming out of the corner to take it back off him and retain that final points position in P10.
Jasper looking for a move on Cancon once more. We've said it, lap and lap and lap and lap and go. And it's still once again an attempt, but Mert is closing up, locking of the brakes. The 21 car currently in P3. You just feel it coming. It feels inevitable that Mert is going to get the job done, but Jasper keeps defying the odds and is able to defend, but is out of the slipstream of Kangaskhan. And I wonder now, look at Cass actually trying a move down the inside. He gets it done up to P4. The Alpine driver goes and is now 4 tenths behind Mert. Cass has held in for a pretty long stint here. Bear in mind, AWS said it's going to be a 2-stop race. Driver said no, it's going to be a 1-stop to the end.
Yeah, Cass was thinking, right, if no one's going to make a move, I'll do it myself. If you want something done, do it yourself, and that's what he did. Up into P4 is the Alpine driver. In front of him is Merckx, and if you could make that move happen on RSD, then what's to say and what's to stop him doing it on Merckx as well? P1, 2, 4 and 5, all as they were at the start of the race. It's Merckx who's up 3 positions. Maya in the Red Bull running that lonely race, as we say, down 3. Just to keep you up to date on how things are going at the back, Bashi is still wanting to get that final points position off Nicholas Swain, and they're fighting their way around. Edu's not too far behind Adam, but as we say, it's all kicking off at the front as I ride on board with Merckx, who is using the RS, but again, no deployment to try and make that move on Jasper. And Jasper does get close to Kangaskhan through turn 1, but as we say, as you alluded to, lap and lap and lap and lap. We just keep following this, waiting for something to happen. Looks like Edu does manage to get past Adam with a little bit of DRS into turn 1. Good move by the Haas driver. It's all even out a little bit at the front at the moment. 3 tenths between them all, but someone's going to make a move. We saw Cass do it a lap ago. Who's going to be next?
It could indeed be Jasper or Merckx, or even RSD taking that position back from Cass, as he has maintained a close gap to the Alpine driver, so nothing out of the question just yet. And Cass is now actually backing off from Mert, not able to maintain the pace. You see Mert having to risk it all there and try and stop a collision with Jasper as we head into turn 13. Again, all about camber and undulation, and it's been a bit of an undulating race in itself, up and down throughout the grid. And now as we come towards the closing stages, the end of lap 29, not long to go around the lovely track here in the Algarve. It's about 5 tenths the gap between Jasper and Kangaskhan. Championship leader leading the race. It'll be his 3rd win of the season should he take the checkered flag. But it's not over until that flag falls, and Mert is right in for a chance of taking that P2 position. Cass, meanwhile, is having to manage the gap to Mert and also manage, importantly, the defensive gap to RSD. Maya still maintains that 4-second gap to Edu, and who also has a penalty, so there are no issues for him there. Again, a quiet race for the Dane as Bashi and Swain are at it, and there is a yellow flag.
Yeah, and that is Nicholas Swain. I didn't know if there was any contact between the two drivers. Nicholas Swain out of the session. I don't think that will be a safety car with only 3 laps to go, but it might be a virtual safety car that swings its way into the race. I don't think we've seen many yellow flags during the race today. The driving's been absolutely phenomenal. You mentioned penalties not too long ago. P6 downwards, apart from Adam and Marcus, have got penalties. A penalty for either of the top 5 would be race ending, because they're all so close. Any penalty is just going to drop them way out of contention for a podium. Nicholas Swain leaving the session after that unfortunate crash for the Ferrari team. That's going to be no points, unfortunately, for Ferrari today. The last time they achieved no points was back in Hungary. 7 tenths though, Kankan from Jasper now. That's quite a comfortable lead with only a few laps to go. We see Jasper weaving to try and defend from Merckx, and it doesn't look like there's going to be a move there, but again we'll follow him through the first few corners of the lap to see what can happen as we head out of turn 4 and down towards turn 5 with the help of DRS. I'm riding on board with Merck to see if he's able to make that move on Jasper. The gap between him and Jasper is the exact same as, well, it was between Jasper and Kankan, 4 tenths apiece. No moves made there yet though. Cass, will he be trying to make one of his opportunistic moves again into that corner just like he did a few laps ago? Well, we'll have to wait and see what he does on the final few laps. But it's getting, well, they're running out of time now. Just 2 laps to go. If someone wants to make a move, it's going to have to be either next lap or the lap after. It's a checkered flag, and this train has come to the end.
Yeah, the train is almost at its final stop, as I said before. And you just feel the crescendo is on its way. The drivers will be going flat out for the final couple of laps. Attack mode fully engaged, using all the energy they can muster to either defend their position or attack and take potentially the lead of the race. But 6-7 tenths is that gap between Kankon and Jasper. Kankon didn't hold on to the lead in the first lap and had a long stint behind Jasper, but seems to have found his winning ways once again, and is currently holding on to the lead by about 3 tenths as you're on lap 32 of 33, the penultimate lap. If you want to make your positions, now are the prime times to do so. As Cass, a really impressive drive for him actually, one of my drivers today so far, has really held on in there and has took P4 and maintained P4, especially with the calibre of speedy drivers around them and the battling going throughout the field. And Mert, obviously, again, driver today up 3 positions already. Will he make it another position up or potentially even take the race win? The latter is likely, but the former is probable. Nothing's ever impossible in Invictus Racing League. 3 tenths between Cass and Mert now. 5 tenths between the leader and his next closest challenger of Jasper. And currently is a double podium for Williams. And with McLaren finding a few issues with Cass just getting in the way and ensuring that it'll be a top 5 finish, but not a top 3. A top 4 finish for them just yet. As there's a yellow flag, and that is an Alpha Tauri, Fozzy.
Yeah, Bashi again, this time on the soft tyres, spinning around. I don't think he's got any wing damage, not I can see. No, he all looks good there for the final points position.
Here comes the potential overtake. Jasper is using energy, or was using energy, but look, Marcus's car is causing some issues. It's ghosted, but it has allowed Kankon to actually take DRS from that car, and that might be crucial on this final lap of the Portuguese Grand Prix as Jasper maintains P2, and importantly Kankon, who starts on pole, still maintains P1, and Merge seems to have dithered out in this battle. He's 5 tenths now, the tyre wear increasingly becoming an issue for him. He'll be lucky just to finish the race, especially with the cars around him on slightly younger tyres, but the train departs Sector 1 into Sector 2. We are confidently now, and Jasper is around 4 tenths behind Kangakon, and it's going to come down to that final DRS straight. And will he have the pace and a close enough gap to do so? It seems like it's going to be a bit of an uphill challenge as they go downhill now around Portimao. And look at Jasper having a snap of oversteer. That opens the door potentially to a final attack from Merckx. He can see it in his sights. That P2 position is there to aim and there to take, but will he have enough time left in this race? It looks like it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Jasper taking the inside line, now the outer line. It's going to be 6 tenths to gap all the way now to the line. Who's going to come out top? It looks like Kangakon will take his 3rd victory here at Invictus Racing League and maintains the championship lead and impresses everyone here. And Merch on his return takes P3, up 3 position race started. Jasper though, right in that championship battle, takes P2. Fozzy, that was a bit of a long stage battle here, 33 laps of working out when they're going to make the move, and in the end There were a few moves made, we were looking for potentially a few more, but all in all, some phenomenal driving ability showcased this evening.
Yeah, what a race that was, even without the rain. That was absolutely brilliant to watch. Kangaken wins for the first time since Austria's third race win of the season. And yeah, Jasper up there in second as well. It's a Williams 1-3. Both Williams drivers on the podium, and Jeremy Clarkson does manage to take the fastest lap of the race on the final lap. Yeah, that was phenomenal. That was such a good battle between the top 5 there. Clean racing throughout. I loved every moment of that, Cameron. I'm not sure about you. I imagine the answer would be yes, but that is what we like to see. Edu, your in-game driver of the day. Should we do it all again next week?
Well, may as well. Maybe we've only got a few more races left, and it seems to be heating up at the front. Isn't it? I see Williams back on the podium, especially after the recent loss of Sir Frank Williams, and it's lovely to see them in winning ways in the game once more. As the Frenchman extends his championship lead over Jasper, taking the 15 points on offer for the victory today. But will he take the same amount of points next week as we head to the Circuit de Barcelona in Spain for what will be round 13 of this Formula 1 Invictus Racing League PC F1 season? Here is your championship classification, or sorry, your race classification before the stewards' involvement. There might be a few stewards' penalties applied, and what a lineup that is there. The only Red Bull started third, finished 7th. A bit of a bad day in the office for him there. And Jamie Clarkson at one place takes the fastest lap with him as well. And those points are all crucial in the grand scheme of things. As we head back to the calendar, we have, as we said briefly before, we've got Singapore as round 14. But first we go to Spain for round 13, and then finish the season in Mexico. So why don't you join us next week in Spain as we go to a very much more of a familiar track than Portugal. Fozzy, you look forward to Spain?
I wouldn't say normally yes, but based on what we've just seen in Portugal there, I cannot wait to go again in just a week's time. The championship is not over yet, and if we're going to have battles like that for the next few races, well, I'll be bringing popcorn next Wednesday.
Indeed, bring your popcorn, bring your umbrellas, they might be needed. We'll see you next week. Have a good one, and goodbye.